Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. There is a card on this coming Saturday, which is February the 1st. And it's at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. And it's headlined by the two Davids, David Morrell versus David Benavidez. And the undercard is very, very good as well. There's a lot of fights. It's on Prime, Amazon Prime, is it? I think it's a PBC thing. Anyway, the point is that one of those fights on the undercard, I think, is very, very interesting. And there could be, would you call it an upset? I don't know. Let me talk about it and see what you think, whether you would regard this as an upset. Because it's actually a rematch between the former unified super bantamweight titleist Stephen Fulton, who currently has 22 wins with 8 KOs, 1 defeat, which was to Inoue when he lost his belts. He's 30 years old. He's from Philadelphia. He lost his belts to Inoue in mid-2023, and he's had one fight since then against Carlos Castro, in which he was floored in the 5th round, and he won a split decision. That's his only work since moving up to featherweight after losing to Inoue. But this is for the WBC featherweight title, and it's a rematch, like I say, with Brandon Figueroa. Figueroa has 25 wins with 19 KOs, 1 defeat, which was to Fulton, and 1 draw. He's 28 years old. He's from Texas. And he was the WBC interim champion. I think he won against Mark Magsayo, and then he, I suppose you'd say, defended it, if it's worth defending, against Jesse Magdaleno. And he had the one fight. The one fight last year was against Magdaleno when he knocked him out in 9 rounds. The Magsayo fight was a unanimous 12-round decision. Now, like I say, these two fought before in 2021, and it was a majority decision in favour of Fulton. That was for the WBC and WBO Super Bantam titles. Both undefeated. No problem. It was a tough fight. Like I say, majority decision. I think the other two had it relatively wide. The other two judges who didn't score it a draw. So we're talking about a rematch which does have an air of unfinished business about it. You know, it's a worthy rematch. We're not talking, Anthony Yard versus Lyndon Arthur 3 here. You know what I mean? This is a rematch that that does pique the interest. And as far as Figueroa's record goes, probably the most striking name that leaps out and hits me in the face is a 2021 victory over Luis Nery, where he knocked Nery down, knocked him out with a body shot in the 7th round. And then he lost to Fulton. The Fulton fight was after that. But that's a good win. That's a good win, that Nery win. Nery was undefeated in 31 at the time, 31 fights. Whereas Fulton, by the way, since losing to Fulton, I should point out that Figueroa has won 3 fights. Again, not the busiest of schedules, is it? I think he fought once in 2022, 2023, and 2024. So both of these guys, quite a bit of inactivity going on, but I suppose it evens out. And Figueroa, I think, nevertheless, has probably a bit more momentum and has looked a little bit more robust than Fulton. Because, like I say, in the fight with Castro, Fulton, when I say he was floored in the 5th round, it was a serious knockdown. It wasn't a flash knockdown. And, of course, he was knocked out prior to that by Inoue. And, badly beaten up, as are most people that fight Inoue. He does have a good win over Angelo Leo. That was in 2021. Same year he beat Figueroa. Angelo Leo went on to become WBC featherweight champ. So maybe they could have a rematch further down the line. But that Castro fight, there was an air of something missing from Fulton. He sort of escaped with that split decision, but it could easily have gone the other way. I remember thinking, oh, Castro might have this, but no. Two of the judges went for Fulton. And I'm just wondering if at the age of 30, that beating by Inoue took something out of Fulton for good, because that can happen. Whereas Figueroa, having, lost the majority decision to Fulton the first time round. I should also point out, by the way, that the 2022 fight that Figueroa had was, let me get this right now. Yes, it was against Carlos Castro. Yeah, let me get this right. Okay, so Castro was the one that gave Fulton hell in his last fight. But back in 2022, he fought Figueroa and got stopped in 6 rounds. So Figueroa has a better result over the mutual opponent. And to be honest with you, Carlos Castro can fight a bit. I mean, that stoppage to Figueroa was his only defeat. He's had 3 defeats, and he's got 30 wins, though, with 14 KOs. He's not a bad fighter. Now, it could be that Stephen Fulton, when he struggled with Castro, had a bad day at the office, or he was shaking off a bit of ring rust. It's possible. But I didn't like what I saw in that Castro fight. I just didn't like it. And I really think there's a question mark over him. I really do. Whereas with Figueroa, his last few fights, I don't really, the 9-round win over Magdaleno was good. He looked good in the Magsayo fight. Knocking out Castro is good. Yeah, I just think there's more momentum there. And 25 wins with 19 KOs, he does hit quite hard. Now, he's an orthodox fighter. He's 28, so he's 2 years younger than the also orthodox Stephen Fulton. Fulton, very much a counter-puncher, likes to move a lot, pop with a jab, uses his feet, lots of lateral movement. Good fighter, good skills. Until Inoue, you thought, well, he hasn't got a bad chin, but then I don't suppose anyone's got a great chin against Inoue, have they? The guy's just an absolute machine, or a monster, as he likes to call himself. Figueroa, though, both these guys, don't forget, were former super bantamweights. Figueroa, I just feel he has a little bit more freshness about him. Even though he's had more fights, he's never had a beating like the one that Naoya Inoue inflicted on Stephen Fulton. And I wonder, because Fulton did struggle with Castro, who was previously knocked out in 6 by Figueroa, I wonder whether that's going to play on Fulton's mind. Now, having said that, Fulton has the win, of course, in the first fight against Figueroa. But some fighters, they have a peak and then it's very brief. And I get the feeling with Fulton that this is the case with him. He reached his peak, he bumped into probably an all-time great in Inoue, got beaten up, and that's left him greatly diminished. That's what I'm thinking. So with that in mind, I think that Brandon Figueroa is going to win this fight, and I think he's going to win it by knockout. I think that Fulton will do his usual thing, jab, move, lateral movement, try to sneakily counterpunch, be very crafty. He's got quite a high ring IQ. But I think at some point Figueroa will start to clock him and clip him. And I think we might see a knockdown or two before the actual stoppage, like in previous rounds. But I don't think Fulton will be able to hold off Figueroa. And I think Figueroa will walk him down, erode him. Again, both orthodox fighters, but both use both hands. They don't have any particular pet punches. I suppose everyone has a favourite punch, but they've got all the tools in the box, if you know what I mean. And I think Figueroa will just eventually walk down and stop, probably floor once or twice before he stops him, Stephen Fulton, and win by, I'll say an 8th round stoppage. Right, 8th round stoppage. So do you agree with me? What do you think is going to happen in this fight? Are you looking forward to it? I think this is a very interesting fight. I like it. It's a worthy rematch, and I think it could provide some good action. And this is not a bad card. I tell you, PBC, they get berated a lot, and often with good reason. But this is a bad card at all. But let me know what you think. You leave your comments below. Who do you think will win? Why do you think they'll win? And yeah, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Please subscribe if you're new. Please hit the like button if you like the video. We've got loads and loads more for you. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and bye for now.